America, and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate. I am Robert Aldana. Guess what we're going to be doing today? We're going to show you how you can do your own loan modification. Absolutely. Stop throwing your money away to foreclosure rescue scams. It can be done. So what we're going to be doing today is starting off the first of a 4-part series. Each video is about 15 minutes long. I'm going to show you various different points on how you can get your loan modification accomplished just between you and your lender. Okay, it's 15 minutes long each video. There's 4 of them. So if you do the math, we're talking about close to an hour-long series of how to do your own loan modification. In addition to that, I'm going to ask you to listen to my 40-minute podcast on loan modification, facts or fiction. So I know what you're hearing and I know what you're saying right now. You're thinking, you know what? That's a long time. I don't know that I have an hour to watch a video, and I don't know that I have 40 minutes to listen to a podcast on loan modifications. Well, let me tell you something right now. If you do not have an hour to watch a video on how you can save your home and another 40 minutes to listen to a fantastic podcast that's going to give you information on how to do your own loan modification, then you really don't have time or the patience to save your home. So let's get started. Let's go with part number 1 of a 4-part series. It's only going to last about 15 minutes. I promise you it's not going to be more than that, but by the time you're done watching these videos, you're going to be very versed and you're going to be very ready for you to start and continue with and negotiate your own loan modification. Let's get started. Okay, so the following is a list of documents that you're going to be needing if you're going to be submitting a loan modification request with your lender or lenders. I can't stress to you how important it is for you to have these documents. If you don't have these documents that I'm about to go over with you, it's going to be really tough for you to correctly fill out the loan modification application. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to have you so prepared when you submit your application to your lender. I'm going to have you so on top of your game that you're probably going to know more about your loan modification than your lender is. Why? Because in many situations, you're dealing with people who are incompetent. And I'm sorry, if you're a lender listening to this, you have a lot of people that are incompetent that work for you. That is a fact. So you as a consumer who is watching this video, I'm going to help you be completely prepared and hopefully fill out an excellent loan modification application so that your lender has no choice but to listen to you. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a loan modification because nobody can guarantee it. But in the very least, if you do not, for whatever reason, get a loan modification, God forbid, it's not going to be because of you. It's going to be because your lender, quite frankly, probably doesn't want to give you a loan modification, but it's not going to be because of you. Now, before I go into this slide, I also want to let you know also that this particular presentation, along with all the episodes of this particular loan modification video, there's like 3 or 4 episodes that we're going to have on here. You can actually download and print these slides as a PDF file on our site at robertaldana.com. The reason why I did that is because if you print these slides as a PDF file on your computer, you'll be able to read through them as we're going through this presentation. For many of you who are watching this on a really small screen on YouTube or a small computer, it's going to be tough to read some of the lettering. So if you print the slides, you'll be able to go over the whole presentation with me with your slides in hand, and you can stop and go as you choose, and you'll be able to just kind of read them through also if you're having lunch or coffee or whatever, just to kind of remind yourself on some of these points. So let's go ahead and get started on the documents that you're going to need. But if you want to get these slides, just get them on our website at robertaldana.com. You're going to need your past 30 days of paycheck stubs if you're a wage earner. If you work for a company or an employer that gives you a W-2 or pays you by paycheck stubs, you're going to need a paycheck stub. In your paycheck stubs, it's really important that you try to get a paycheck stub that shows your year-to-date earnings. There are certain situations where your employer doesn't give you year-to-date earnings, and that's fine. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to ask your employer to give you a current year-to-date earnings report so that you could submit that to your lender, because they're going to want to know how much you're actually making. I know that you're working right now, but if you've been working and it's 6 months into the year, you've only made $500 all year, they're going to want to know why, what happened. So the last thing you want to do is have them average it out to $400 a month, right? You don't definitely want to do that. So make sure you have a year-to-date, and if you've worked at a previous employer, that's okay. Just make sure you have all that information handy. If you're self-employed, a lot of you have your your own business, your own company, that's totally fine. You can get a loan modification if you have your own business. You're going to need a profit and loss statement for the past year. So, like for example, we're doing this video in June of 2011. If I was to submit a loan modification request today, I would submit my 2010 tax returns, and I'll talk about that in a minute, along with my my profit and loss statement. Where am I going with this? Sorry about that. I'm going to submit 2010 profit and loss statement that shows me how much I paid for materials, wages, and all the other stuff in my company, and how much I actually earned myself. Ask your CPA to give you a simple P&L form. They can fill that out for you. If you don't have a CPA that can fill that out for you, you can get a simple P&L form on my website at robertaldana.com. I've made those available for people so they can download it, and there's instructions on how to fill out it. It's really, really easy. But you got to give your previous year P&L report to your lender, and you also have to have ready your year-to-date P&L. So if you're in the first 3 months of the year, they're going to want the first quarter of profit and losses for your own business, okay? Now, it's really important that if you do have your own company, that you circle and identify the deposits on your bank statements, and we'll talk about bank statements in a minute, that were made for self-employed income. So lenders, because in many situations when you're self-employed, you don't get a paycheck stub. They just pay you. If you're a landscaper, sometimes people will just give you a check, or sometimes you'll even get paid cash. What's important that you identify those deposits in your bank account. Again, that's why it's, super important for you to always make the deposits of all the incomes that you're making into your bank account. Because if you can't prove it, if you're not able to prove your income, you're not going to be able to show it and use it, okay? Now, if you're on a pension or Social Security or other earnings, gather copies of checks and award letters if applicable. Those of you who are on a pension or Social Security know what I'm talking about. An award letter is basically a document that states how much they're going to be paying you every single month and for how long they're going to be paying that to you. Now, just because you're on a pension or Social Security does not mean you cannot get a loan modification. That is simply not true. I have helped people get a loan modification who did not have a job, but they had a pension or Social Security income coming every single month. So just want to make sure that you understand that. If you are renting rooms or units on properties, gather rental agreements and circle the deposits. Again, if you're renting rooms to your friends or relatives or whatever to help you make that mortgage payment, really important for you to show that you are depositing that money, circle it in the bank statements, and in addition to that, show a rental agreement. For those of you who are renting rooms to friends and family, or you just don't have a rental agreement, shame on you. You should have a rental agreement. Everything should be in writing. But don't stress. I also have those forms on my website at robertaldana.com. Just click on Foreclosure Help, and it'll give you a link to where you can download a very simple and easy to fill out rental agreement. It's really important that you tell the truth. Don't make up rental agreements just because you think you need the income. You always want to tell the truth, and you fill out that information as you're receiving those particular types of rents. 2 months of most recent bank statements for our parties on loan. If you have one or two people on the loan, they're going to want bank statements for everybody, okay? Now, you need to show if you have checking and savings account. A CD account is also considered a savings and not necessarily retirement account, because a 401k or retirement accounts are not requested by lenders for a loan modification. And that's something you do not need to provide. But you do need to provide your bank statements, including circling all the deposits that I stated above for the rentals that you're getting, and also deposits that you're making if you're self-employed. Recent tax returns completed and signed. So if you're doing this in 2011, you just need to get together or gather your 2010 tax returns. I mean, I really think that this crisis is going to last for a few more years. So you may be watching this video in 2013 or 2014, it's pretty simple common sense. Just the previous year, you're going to need your recent tax returns completed and signed where applicable. You're also going to need your mortgage statements for all properties that you own. The reason why is because in the loan modification application, or the RMA, the request for loan modification, it's going to ask you loan numbers, phone numbers, balances, and all that good stuff. And you want to have all that information ready so that you can start entering it accurately and quickly. Homeowner insurance policy. If you're not making your mortgage payments, you better be making your homeowner's insurance policy. The last thing you want is for something to happen, your house to catch on fire, or somebody gets hurt in your home and you don't have homeowner's insurance. You could be liable for certain things. So you always want to have a homeowner insurance policy, and you can get that very simple, very easily with your homeowner's insurance agency. homeowner association statements. If the property has a homeowner association HOA, if it's a condominium or a townhouse, just ask the agencies where you pay that if they haven't given you a statement to provide them for you. That's another one too that you need to be very aware of. If you're not making your mortgage payments, you should be making your homeowner association payments, because in many situations the HOA has a first lien position. If they were to foreclose on your property, they're going to recover every single dollar that you have not paid them, versus if it was like a second loan or something. So if you haven't been making your HOA payments, you should do so. Don't ever stop making your HOA payments, just like you shouldn't be missing your homeowner insurance policy. Just a little caution I'm giving to you. Your property tax bill and statement, that you can get that from your county recorder's office. That's going to give you your property tax bill and goes over, what your actual tax bill is. You're going to need that first. You're going to need that because some of that information is going to be going in your loan modification application. And the lender's also going to want to see that too, to see if you've actually been paying your property taxes. And last but not least, you're going to need a current utility bill. You're going to ask why? Well, the reason why is because the lenders want to know that you are living in this property. The information that I'm going over here today is related and applicable to properties that are owner-occupied. Non-owner-occupied properties are very difficult to get a loan modification. It's not impossible. I've done them before, but they're very difficult. Today, we're talking about owner-occupied property. If you live in your property, how to get a loan modification. And a current utility bill is going to show that you live in that property. If it's a cable bill that your kid is paying and it comes under his or her name, don't put that one in to the lender, or don't submit that to the lender. Submit one that has your actual name and information on there, okay? So that concludes the documents that you're going to need before you get started on submitting and filling out and submitting your loan modification application. All these things that I just talked about, I'm going to have you so ready to have a fantastic loan modification application out to your lender. I'm going to have you so prepared. You're going to be on top of your game. If you listen to this video and you watch this video and listen to it and read this information, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have a complete loan modification application ready to go to your lender. Really super important for you to gather all these documents, because without these documents, you really can't submit a loan modification application, because it's going to be incomplete. And incomplete files do what? Go in the trash. Okay? All right, that concludes the docs that you will need, and let's go on to the next chapter.